Upstream Color is a low-budget, independent sci-fi drama that's written and directed by Shane Carruth. So Upstream Color was part of last week's poll, and it was the only film that was slightly in contention with the film Mommy, which if you haven't checked my review for that yet, please go and check it out. But I knew that regardless of it not winning, I was gonna have to watch and review this film because it was just getting so much enthusiasm from you guys. And I also heard that it was quite a polarizing film, so that on its own kind of really piqued my intrigue and I really wanted to check it out. So if you guys have been really enjoying these voter choice poll reviews, please make sure to give this video a like along with the other poll reviews that I've done. Unless you really dislike what I have to say about this film, then in that case, do whatever you want. This is America. But anyways, Upstream Color is probably the most obscure indie art house film that I've seen. There's not really very many people at all that are really aware of this film unless you are really into the art of filmmaking, that you actually heard and seen this film before. And that was another reason why I really felt the need to check it out. There's not really that many people on YouTube talking about this film, and I felt like I needed to step in a little bit and kind of give my 2 cents on it. But let me just go ahead and say this about Upstream Color. There were many aspects of this film that I truly appreciated and admired and respected just from a filmmaking perspective. What Shane Carruth was able to do with this film in terms of telling an entire narrative purely through visual and aesthetic means is something that I think that every aspiring filmmaker should watch and really learn from. Because one thing that I truly love about filmmaking is how much information you're able to convey to the audience purely through visual means. And this film is essentially a masterclass example of just that. And that was the biggest aspect of this film that I truly admired and I truly enjoyed as I was on this journey throughout the entire story. He utilizes every aspect of the aesthetics to really express all of the thoughts and all the ideas and all the story elements. And honestly, he does that flawlessly. With this film, I really think that he's showing everybody like, this is what I can do just through my direction alone. Because the direction of this film is really the biggest character of the film. The actual direction itself is honestly more interesting than any character that's in this film, in my opinion. But you can tell that he really intended to have this more avant-garde, abstract, interpretive approach to the film. And that's also one thing about the film that I also enjoyed. I liked that I was able to watch it. And, as the film was rolling along, I was really trying to piece together what he was showing me. Because there are parts where you're just like, at least for a few minutes, you're quite perplexed at what exactly you're watching. But, as you're watching it, at least for me, I was really starting to figure out everything that he was expressing. And I really like that. I really enjoy a film that's constantly keeping me on my toes and that's constantly kind of making me think throughout it. Because I totally understood the themes that he was going for in this film. The themes that he's definitely trying to express, in my opinion, have to do with the oneness of life and nature, the illusion of identity, one's anxiety of not being able to control their life. That kind of goes hand in hand with determinism as well. There's a very deterministic and mind control aspect of this film where it's trying to get some people to really think about these subjects of like, are you actually in control of your own life? Does free will even exist? This film definitely dives into those kind of existential subjects and themes. And I really appreciated that he was trying to tackle these themes in the more visual and interpretive way that he was going for. But let me be as honest as I possibly can be right now. I don't think I liked and enjoyed this film as much as everybody else at this point has really enjoyed it. Because there were aspects of this film that were a little aggravating and it really had nothing to do with me being confused or me not understanding a certain aspect of it. It really just had to do with the fact that I didn't really find anything to be that profound about it. Like, I felt like the way this film is directed, it uses its sound design, it uses the camera work, the direction, the editing, just the way that this film's continuity flows, and just the entire style of it. It definitely is going for this really profound, thought-provoking, larger-than-life kind of aesthetic feel to it. But when it comes to the actual substance of the film, I feel like there really wasn't enough there, like for me personally. Like, I felt like there really wasn't enough for me to really chew on as I was watching the film. Because let me be honest, the first act of this film, I thought was incredibly strong. Like, when the first 25 minutes of this film passed, I thought like, damn, like this this might be one of my favorite movies that I've seen yet on these polls. Because not only was he able to show all of it through visual means, but it was quite horrifying and a little bit terrifying, because the actual content itself and the way that he was conveying all of those things, it was really unsettling. Because again, it has to kind of do with that whole mind control thing. And it was definitely one of the more anxious moments of the film that really, really got me engaged. But after that first act, it focuses a lot on this couple. And I feel like the film spent too much time with this couple, because there are moments in this film where I feel like I'm supposed to kind of care about what's happening to this couple. And I really didn't, because the film doesn't really give you that much to latch onto when it comes to the characters. And I get that the film, when it comes to these characters, like, it's not really about the characters themselves, but it's really about what the characters represent. And unfortunately, I feel like the film obviously didn't care enough about these characters to give them really any substance for me to really latch onto and care about. And that was something that was kind of hard to deal with as this film was going along, because you spend, again, a lot of time with this couple. And even though, I mean, to the film's credit, even though I really didn't care that much about these characters, again, it's through the style, it's through the direction, it's through the editing and the sound design that it's really keeping your attention to what's happening. Because again, this film is solely about the direction. Because the reason why people really like this film is purely because of the direction. The direction, again, it's a character of its own in this film. And if you're on board for that, then you're gonna at least appreciate this film for what it is. If you're not on board with that, you're gonna absolutely hate this film. Like, if you're just not, if direction alone is not enough to really keep you invested, I really can't see you appreciating this movie and really liking it. But anyway, yeah, that's the second act of this film. It basically follows this couple as they're trying to unravel their similar tragic pasts. And again, the way it's directed, I really appreciate it. It's just, again, I just feel like if there was just a bit more substance there, then I would have enjoyed it more. But anyway, on to the third act of this film. The third act, I'm like mixed on that as well, because I enjoyed where it went, and I think it was like the more hopeful part of the film, the more inspiring part of the film. And again, like, this whole film, like, your mind is just trying to piece together everything that's happening as you're watching it. But for me, one problem that I have with the third act is that I felt like the ending to this just felt a little bit forced. And again, I don't hate it or anything. I definitely appreciate it for what it is. But when it comes to all the themes in the film, I feel like it just kind of scratches the surface of a lot of these things without having really, again, anything truly thought-provoking or profound to say about these things. And I know, like, when it comes to a film like this that's this interpretive and this abstract, you're going to get a lot of different reactions. You're going to have this resonate with plenty of other people who say, no, dude, I got so much from this film. I can't stop thinking about this movie. For me, like, I just personally felt like, again, a lot of the themes that it was touching on felt like just kind of surface level without really diving too much into it. And the direction of this film is trying to make you feel that it's doing its job, and it's trying to make you feel like it's existential and it's larger than life. But I feel like the film never really gets there, and it never really dives into these things in a way that at least I would want out of a film. And I certainly can't recommend this to anybody except for people who really, really respect and enjoy the art of filmmaking. Anybody else is going to absolutely hate this film. Maybe if you get lucky, some casual might find it interesting, even though they're absolutely baffled. But this is a film that honestly is purely for like film school students and people who just really, really respect the art of filmmaking. Because honestly, like, if I wanted to get somebody into the art of filmmaking in the more avant-garde way who isn't used to watching films like this, I personally wouldn't show them this film. I would show them other films like Under the Skin or A Ghost Story or The Tree of Life. Like, films like that, yes, they're kind of perplexing and they're very interpretive, but there's so much beneath the surface in those films that is conveyed through, in my opinion, more intriguing imagery throughout the film, more thought-provoking imagery. The aesthetic value is probably on par, because again, the aesthetic value of Upstream Color, I think, just in terms of its direction, is quite incredible. Like, that's the biggest compliment I can give to Upstream Color, is that its aesthetic direction in terms of trying to convey things through purely visual means is it's masterful at that. But I guess for me, there just wasn't quite enough in there. Like, I personally didn't get that much out of this film besides of more of like a surface level understanding of what he was trying to convey about these things. So with all that said, I'm going to give Upstream Color a 6.5 out of 10. I know that this film has huge fans out there who believe that this film is a masterpiece. And honestly, I can see why you would say that it is a masterpiece, because the direction is absolutely phenomenal. And if the thematic content and the thematic quality in this film like really resonated with you, then of course you're going to think this is a masterpiece, because that was really the only thing in this film that I felt was lacking, was that just for me there wasn't enough thematic substance and thematic quality there. But either way, this was one of the most unique films that I've ever seen in my entire life. I honestly can't think of another film that I've seen that's quite like this one. So, I mean, that's something. And again, like, if you really respect the art of filmmaking and you really enjoy that, I think that you should check this film out and see what you get out of it, because this is quite a polarizing film by its own nature. So, yeah, if that's what you're into and you feel like that you are ready to take on something that is like this, then go right ahead. You might get something bigger out of it than I did. But anyways, those are my thoughts on Upstream Color. I just put out a review for Mommy, like I mentioned earlier, so if you haven't seen that, please check that out. There's also another poll out right now on my channel, so make sure to vote on that and let your voice be heard. And that's all I got to say about Upstream Color, guys. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.